Okay, it's Tuesday, back at the boat. So I'm just getting my pump rigged up so I can suck all the coolant out of the engine, and then I'll get the oil getting sucked out, and then I'll start unbolting some stuff and getting this thing ready to get yarded out, and I'll clear space and set up some timbers and stuff, and we'll just set it right there. Okay, we got the oil pumping out. I just disconnected the fuel hoses, and those had black tape on them with big gouges underneath with just almost no hose material. And the same with this coolant line. It's got another big gouge out of it. Just damn near every hose on this boat needs replaced. The big long exhaust hose, it's all dry rotted, cracked out. There's a few new hoses, the seawater hoses. But yeah, on the whole, I mean, the fuel lines, I'd say at least 80% of the water, any kind of a water coolant line. Yeah, just lots and lots of maintenance for this boat. Okay, I got it lifted up. Got 3 straps on it, and then I've got this board under it, and I probably put a board in the back under it. Maybe this will give me just enough room to get in here and do my work. What a friggin' mess. Hey, I took the bell housing off so I can inspect. My springs definitely got a little bit of wiggle. A little bit of wiggle to them. Yeah, I ordered a new one of these, but I don't know when it's supposed to be here. I'm just working on cleaning all this up. Some acetones, just taking all the old oil stains off. This motor mount, it's not even tight. I didn't touch those bolts, and it's loose. So that one looks like it could be newer or something. I don't know. Maybe they replaced it. Those ones are, well, that one's gold, that one's white, and no paint. I just got the engine set over here on its side. It doesn't have any oil or coolant in it, so it should be fine. Okay, well, that's the end of Tuesday. I got just a little bit more to clean up, and then I'm gonna sand what I can sand with the sander, wherever it'll fit. But the vast majority of it's ready. Hey, Wednesday morning, back at the boat. I got new pieces of cardboard. I'm gonna work on making my template, and then once my template's done, I rough cut out all the Coosa last night and did my 45s. I'll show you guys that later. And then once I got my templates, I'll get the sander going, get this all sanded up, and then start cutting the Coosa to fit down in here. And once that's all fit, I'll do a final clean, wipe down with acetone, and then we'll start doing some fiberglassing. Okay, I just got done refining my template a little bit. So I'm gonna go up and cut the Coosa board, and then bring the Coosa board down here for final fit and finish, and I'll bring the sander and vacuum and everything back up here and sand all this a little bit and start wiping down with acetone, and then start getting the fiberglass ready. I got the templates onto the Coosa board, and I'm gonna use a skill saw. It cuts it real easy. I'm also gonna put a 5-degree bevel just to give it a little bit of room to fit in the bilge easier. Yeah, I got it all sanded up, and then got a good test fit on the first level. So now I'm gonna go drill holes for the raised portion, and it's actually gonna create a sump in the bilge that the water will always be below the nuts and washers of the bolts. Okay, I got all my epoxy resin stuff out and ready. So I'm using system 3. It's just a 2-to-1. I got tons of measuring cups. I got all the measuring or mixing spoons. I got Cabosil for thickening up. Yeah, I got the bolts all taped up and I wiped it super good with acetone a couple times. Vacuumed it one last time. So it's nice and clean and ready to go. Let's go down and mix up some epoxy. Okay, I got all the Coosa board down with the thickened epoxy. So now I'm gonna start getting the mat ready. I'll probably go up and trim the mat some more and pre-cut my holes, because I kind of forgot about needing holes in the mat. Okay, Thursday morning back at the boat. I didn't have a chance to take a video, but yesterday I was rushing so much at the end of the day to try to get this fiberglass in. Some of it has two, like this is all two mats. This is 2 mats, and then right there, or no, from this line over I need to do the second mat, but it looks okay. I think I'll rough it up a little bit with some sandpaper, what I need to put more mats on, and then get going on the fiberglassing again. I'm gonna pre-wet everything and put my fiberglass down, and then put more epoxy resin on top of it. Okay, I got the second layer all finished. I propped my heater up here and it's just blowing hot air down in here, and I put the cover back on so I could just heat all this up to help that stuff cure faster. I drilled out all these motor mount holes, and I'm gonna go whip up some thickened epoxy and fill those. Some of them were a little weak and one of them wasn't holding at all, so we'll do that next. I put some milled fiber in here, Cabosil, mix it up super good, so I want this to be strong. Got my oil pan off. Quite a bit of oil was in there still, which surprised me because I sucked that thing out like super good. But I'm gonna take this home, sand it all up, repaint it. It's got a little bit of rust, but hopefully it's not pitted. And I'm gonna take this hose to get this hose replaced because it's all dry rotted and cracked. Okay, I just received my new to me strut in the mail. It's off of 87, I think, Catalina 27, but it same one as what I have. But I'm gonna install this strut anode, and then it's also gonna get painted with epoxy paint and then bottom paint, so it'll be hopefully very well protected, and I will never have another de-zincified strut again. Okay, I got the cutlass bearing installed, and then I got the new zinc just snug on here because it's got a little ring that crushes down when you tighten it, so I'm not going to do that till after this thing is painted. Getting the oil pan all sanded up, repaint it. Got a little bit of rust right here and rust up there. Hopefully it's not too bad. Okay, I got it all sanded up, I don't think any of the rust is too bad. I'm gonna hit it with rust-oleum primer. It's got the stuff in it that stops any of this rust, but yeah, it's not too bad. I got them primed, and then I got them painted. This is the same can of paint that I used to paint the Compass. I think it actually matches the engine pretty closely. I want to touch up the transmission. I got it draining right now. I'm draining it out of the actual drain hole in the bottom so it can get a decent drain on it. And then I'll get that all cleaned up. Back of the boat, Friday morning. I'm test fitting the new strut. All the holes lined up, so that's good. One thing I noticed about my old strut compared to the new strut is I'll call these the saddle and these are the teeth. So the saddles are the same between the two struts. Those line up perfectly. But the new strut, its teeth were just a little bit taller than my old strut. So for the mung in here where the teeth were, I chiseled that all out to give more room for the taller teeth on this strut, but I left the saddle humps the same of the old mung. So that way, you know, I have a reference on how this strut is supposed to be in here. I'm gonna go up and tighten all the nuts. Okay, well, I'm trying to slide the shaft in and I'm hitting the boat. So I'm gonna go up and loosen the nuts so I can pull the shaft down a little bit. And so I guess what I'm gonna have to do is whip up some thickened epoxy and put a bunch of thickened epoxy up there, and then put the bolts through and snug, just tighten the nuts, come down, check, and then keep doing that until I get the right angle and on this strut, and then just let it sit and let the epoxy harden. I've been really struggling with this, just trying to look at any differences. Looks like this edge is beveled a little bit. This edge is not as beveled, so I'm going to bevel this with a grinder. And then you can see that this tooth is way taller than this tooth. So I'm going to grind this tooth down a little bit. And then I don't know, I think this one might be this one might be just a tad bit more angled, so I'm going to bevel this a little bit because we're hitting on the back here, and so I don't think it's fully seating into this recessed area, and that's because right now my shaft is it's too high. So I don't think the back, when I tighten this down, I don't think the back is tightening all the way, so the front is pulling up and tightening all the way, and the back is kind of jammed, and it's just wanting to send the shaft up, into the boat before the hole. So we'll go out and work on this shaft a little bit. Okay, I got it pretty dang good. I mean, it's right there. I just barely touch the shaft and it centers. And it's pretty good just by itself, just hanging there. So I think I'm gonna whip up some thickened epoxy, lower this thing down, put it back up the exact same way I just did, and lower this thing down, smother the top of it in some thickened epoxy, set it back up there. I tighten the rear first, and then I took a bungee cord. I take a bungee cord and I pulled that this way to put a little bit of torque on the shaft, because it does want to go a little bit more to the right than to the left, and so I put a little bit of tension on it like this as I tighten it, and then ended up being almost dead center. So I'll just do this whole procedure again, and hopefully I get the same result. Okay, I think this might be what I want. I can pull it like that and it doesn't fall out. So that's what I want since I'm working upside down. Okay, the instructions say to put a sealant on the bolt head and then up here, and then to fill all this with thickened epoxy, which there's already the humps there, so I'm just gonna fill these valleys in a little bit and then it'll squeeze out when I tighten the bolts. Alright, I got the 5200 on there, and I'm gonna take the strut under there and I'm just gonna cake all this up with thickened epoxy and then slide it up in there. The bolts kind of jam in there, so it kind of holds it up, but I brought this little truck pole thing that expands, and I'll put that on the bottom of the strut to hold it up while I go up and put the nuts and washers on. I used up the rest of that cup of thickened epoxy, and I'm gonna go get a heater, put a heater under here and get this thing warmed up. It's nice and centered in the shaft. Per the Catalina 30 strut installation instructions, I made some shims out of some PVC and got equal distance all the way around the shaft log. So I'm gonna get that heater going so that epoxy can set up and I can do my next coat. Got all my holes drilled. I used a little bit bigger drill bit than what you normally do for 3/8 lag bolt, but my buddy Hayden told me you want to go a little bit bigger because the fiberglass won't compress like wood does when you drive them in there. So I got them drilled out with a 5/16. And then I whipped up some thickened epoxy. I'm going to put a little drop in each hole, and then I'm going to dip the lag screws in it and then run those down in there, and then it can harden, and those should be just like super solid, and then no more running lag screws in and out for adjusting motor mounts. Okay, all the motor mount bolts are in, and oh, I need a wipe around that one. I don't want any bubbles. I sanded all this up. I sanded that up to get ready for epoxy primer or epoxy barrier coat. And then I'm just gonna sand all this up a little bit, try to smooth out any hard edges or anything, and then work on that for a little bit. The epoxy's almost thickened up on the strut to do the next coat, and I'll probably do that first and then finish prepping this, and then onto epoxy paint. Okay, this is all I was able to get done. The strut just took up way too much of my time today, so I didn't get the epoxy painted on. So I'll have to do that tomorrow. I got all the studs in. This is where I got today with the strut. So I'll probably put the glass in. Put the glass in tomorrow. Piece of glass in there, and then do another coat of resin with bubbles in it, and then sand this up